Action 2. The Brumbies versus Waratahs. This will finish 47-14. I think most of us had called the Brumbies to win this one, but boy, was this done in emphatic fashion. I thought the Waratahs would step up, and they did in the first half, to be fair. But just like they did against the Chiefs, the Waratahs in the second half just fell to pieces. Or the Tars just improved. There's definitely an element, the Brumbies has improved, and there was an element of that, definitely. So early on, both sides making errors, fumbling the ball. We had 3 scrums back to back because neither side could get the ball cleanly out of the scrum. They would knock it on and the other side would get a scrum. That was kind of what the first half was like. We had lots of turnovers, and whenever the team sort of managed to put phases together, they scored. And that's we had a couple of locks reaching over, one from each side. We had a line-up maul that then we had players spinning out. And then we just had the Brumbies going through phases. And that's really kind of where we're at. We were at 21-14 at halftime. The Brumbies were kicking the ball and keeping it in and saying, right, Waratahs, if you want to attack, go for it. You can have the ball. The Tars, on the other hand, were keeping it in hand, and then when they're in their own 22, the exits were going into touch. I think the Tars only had 2 lineouts in that first half because the Brumbies just did not kick it out. They made they said, right, yeah, if you want to have a kicking duel, we'll have a kicking duel, or if you want to run for it, you can run with it. We'll trust our defence. And the Tars ended up with only having like a third of possession and territory, but they ran something like twice as far. So you've got to say, really strange or perfect tact or strange tactics or very different tactics from the 2 sides in that first half. Come the second half, the Brumbies switch things up. The Tars don't, and the Tars continue to give away turnovers. 16 turnovers in this game by the Waratahs. They just did not hold on to the ball. Some of them were crazy. I mean, they were offloading 24 offloads. I mean, some teams will do 24 offloads in a season. The Tars were really trying to push this way too much. And Kearns, he is the worst commentator on the planet. Sorry, folks. But saying that, yes, that's the right thing to do was to charge on the front foot and give the offload. Look, out wide, the Tars got intercepted like 3 or 4 times through these offloads out wide, throwing them. And eventually one of them led to an interception try. Crazy stuff by the Tars, and they only had themselves to blame. Other thing in that first half was the penalty count was something like 1-6. The discipline, and Hooper said it in post-match interview that they messed up their discipline and basically gave Rasta he didn't blame the referee at all. So they ended up with the yellow card on 56 minutes. The Brumbies, to be honest, didn't take advantage. They got a try straight away, but after that they didn't get any more points. And then the Brumbies gave up their own yellow card for repeat infringements on the 67th minute. But by then it was 33-14, and the game was already gone anyway, so it didn't really matter. So clinical performance by the Brumbies in that second half. They managed to clearly switch things up, cut down the turnovers, and basically that's all they needed to do to win this game. Looking at some of the players who got through large amounts of work, and I think you're going to be a few in here that you're not going to be surprised at. Tom Banks had a decent game, 9 carries, but all the backs on the Brumbies had lots of carries. Kata had 9, Banks 8, Kata 9, Kundrani 9, Muirhead 8. All those wide backs getting involved with the pill and doing lots and lots of running. It's quite happy to spread the ball wide for a side that's renowned and has a reputation for just having a line-out more. They really did use those backs quite a lot. McKerney got through quite a bit of work with 12 runs as well, but didn't really go very far, only 12 metres. So lots of work, not really going anywhere. On the other side, really impressed by Fitzpatrick, actually. Fitzpatrick and Noah Kawatasi, also known as Marky Mark, had a real nice bit of interplay down the 5-metre channel in the tram lines there for Marky Mark to score in the corner. Really, whilst the stats don't show it, Fitzpatrick was getting involved quite a lot. And also a very good pass from the base of ruck on a defensive one to the kicker to clear the kick. You'd have thought he was a regular scrum half. So yeah, some good work by Fitzpatrick there, who had apparently been thinking about retiring prior to this season. But again, also, I mean, Maddox and Marky Mark, 13 carries each. They were the top carriers for the Waratahs. Again, they were quite happy to get it wide. But if you notice, Newsom only 6 carries, Beale 7 carries. Now Beale pulled up the hamstring injury, but even so, that was in the second half. But if you know it's going to go to the wingers, you can just slide the defence across and force those passes wide. In the case of the Brumbies, you've got Banks interjecting himself. You've got Kirandrani also willing to carry it up. That straightening up holds the defenders. That means when the pass does get to the wingers can actually do something with it. Also, Simmons, Swinton, Hooper also got through a bunch of carrying in the forwards. They tried to earn the right to go wide, as you say, but it really did not work. As I say, the turnovers were a big problem for them. And looking on that as to who was turning that over, Maddox, 3 turnovers conceded. It's exactly what I was talking about. Those offloads out wide that Kearns was so happy to see him doing. Apart from that, basically pretty much most of the rest of the team also gave away a turnover at some point. It was just a general malaise by the team. Tackle counts, as you'd expect. Hooper is up there, as is Simmons, standing fourth. Johnson, Holmes all got through a bunch of work. Over on the Brumbies side, Neville the lock, Pete Samu as well, and McKerney again getting through, as well as Kirandrani and Simone. That centre combination for the Brumbies. Interestingly, Curly Beale, 0 tackles, 1 missed tackle. Yep, and the one time he had to get somebody, he pulled a hamstring, had to go off the pitch, which led to Joe Powell's try just after half time, which really made it a long way back for the Waratahs. That second try in the second half by Tom Wright, who was the extra man once the Tars were down to yellow, and basically that was the game over before the hour mark. Congratulations to the Brumbies. They'll go into the break really happy with that try bonus point win. Leaves them top of the Australian Conference. As the commentators have kept on saying, we don't know when rugby will be back. We don't. That is very true. So, a couple of videos I will have that are coming up. One is I'm going to be looking at how fair the draw is, or the schedule is, and how hard and difficult the schedule has been for each of those teams. Are we seeing any teams having basically inflated table positions because they've had an easy schedule or not? That's the kind of stuff I'm going to be looking at. So, we'll see how that what that looks like. I'll try and get that video out this evening. I've done a lot of work on that. Also, I'll be looking at what could be the next stage for the season for Super Rugby. What could they do? How could they structure it to try and get some rugby in before the end of June? Let's be honest, unless the European teams refuse to tour in July, there is no room for this tournament to go beyond the end of June. So if the July international window gets cancelled, then Super Rugby could go into it. But otherwise, this all has to be wrapped up by the end of June because of other commitments. So this talk by commentators, it's an 18-week season. We've still got a lot of it to play. You're not going to be playing the 18-week season. Games are cancelled, right, folks? The question is now how, with whatever time you've got left available, how do you restructure the rest of the season? What options are there? So I'll be looking into that, seeing what options are there, whether it's so look out for that video as well. That'll all be over at DrivingMaul.com, so please go visit that site. You can become a supporter of Driving Maul over there. As someone said, he's going to keep his drips going, or his contributions going, even with now the rugby is out of action. Obviously, a lot of my content I won't be able to produce. He says even if it is just a drip, you know what? An ocean's made up by drips, folks. Each of those drips means an awful lot to me. So even if it's just $1 or $2, you can become a supporter for $1 a month. That does mean the world to me. So head over to DrivingMaul.com, see the other content that's there. If you'd like to watch it, then become a supporter. It's not it's not a lot of money. Thank you very much for following my stuff. Thank you very much for being part of Driving Maul. It's a real shame that that rugby's shutting down, but the channel will not be shutting down. We'll still be continuing. Join me on Monday evening at 8 p.m. where we'll review all the action from this weekend, and Hash Rugby Chat will continue at 8 p.m. every Tuesday New Zealand time as well. If you prefer to listen rather than watch, then subscribe to the podcast. There's a podcast out there as well. Links all to that stuff on DrivingMaul.com if you want to do that. If you just want to watch videos, then obviously hit subscribe down below and get your bell on down there to be notified. Thank you so much for watching, being part of the channel. It's an absolute blast, and hopefully I'll be talking to you soon.